Hey fans of M&A, thanks for tuning in to another episode of M&A Sports Radio, and if you haven't already, please hit subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
While you're in there, leave us a rating, add a comment. We appreciate the feedback. Thank you for tuning in, M&A Sports Radio. On tonight's M&A Sports Sitdown, we often look at players, different types of athletes that leave their teams or franchises and leave a lasting impact behind. Now we're starting to see a trend with journalists and reporters leaving their companies. And a lot of these journalists or reporters are getting high-figure salaries, and we're kind of starting to see like a talent drain, I guess you could say, from ESPN. And going forward, is this something they should be worried about, or is this something, I guess, is opportunity for different types of people who are trying to get into the industry?
I mean, we're going to talk about a ton of guys here, and all of them were at ESPN at one point. So is ESPN is the place where everyone wants to work, obviously, in this kind of field. So they're a place where they can determine what talent they take and what talent leaves and walks. So first one, obviously, Skip Bayless.
But the thing is, with the list we're going through, every single guy in this list was there at least 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the insane part to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut your...
No.
But let's start with Skip Bayless, who was there for 12 years, initially came to the network as a guy who was supposed to be on the Sports Reporters, which is on Sundays, which is actually one of my favorite shows. I'm not sure if you watch it.
Oh, it was Sean Saunders?
Yep, and Mike Lupica, Mitch Albom. It's a very good show. I wish it was longer than a half hour. But anyways, let's keep on point here. Skip was a guy that built it sounds weird to say because he was just kind of a talk show host, but he made First Take a brand in a way. It went from cold pizza to First Take.
Not only that.
He invented the format. He made that show.
Exactly. The world of hot takes and people's takes on things, that didn't really exist until Skip Bayless and Woody Page, even before Stephen A. Smith, because Woody Page and him would go at it for hours. But
on cold pizza, I agree.
Once Stephen A. Smith got into that role where they took their sides and stances on whatever topic they were talking about, and they had to go about it every day for 3 hours, where one remembered every word the other one said for the past months. So the sports debate really took on a life of its own in a world where content is king. I know you're going to hate me for saying that. If you can drum up that your take on something goes viral and you are the story within the story, that's something that we hadn't seen before. And Skip Bayless is the king of that.
And he won't admit it now, but he's been quoted in the past saying he kind of thrives on saying or writing things that people can throw darts at and take shots at him for. Because like you said, it gives you that viral mentality, and everyone wants to take a shot at you and prove you wrong.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a really cheesy way to make a living, but I mean, if it works, some people can do it. And I mean, you look at a guy like Skip Bayless, he goes and gets 4 years, $22 million with a $4 million signing bonus. So he's making $26 million over the next 4 years at Fox Sports.
Unbelievable.
With his new boss being Jamie Horowitz, who invented the whole idea of embrace debate, which you talked about at First Take in ESPN.
No question. A crazy move and a crazy contract.
The next one is a really crazy move to me. Mike Tirico, a guy who's been with the network 25 years. I think he's going to NBC. He's going to do the Thursday night footballs. I'm sure he'll be involved in other parts of the broadcast. I don't think he gets football night in America. I don't think he's good enough to be on that.
I don't know if he's a studio guy.
No,
either
that's
way.
what I'm saying.
I don't mind him going to NBC for another game.
I
think Al Michaels is the best football play-by-play guy right now. How many years Al Michaels has left? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So Tirico will be able to slide right into that role. He's an excellent play-by-play guy. He's very versatile in sports. He does a ton of sports. I don't mind Dan Hicks. I don't. But if you could tell me that, and I hate Johnny Miller. Everyone knows I hate Johnny Miller. So if you could move Mike Tirico and David Feherty into the Tower at 18 for NBC, that gives your golf coverage so much more depth.
I'm sure they will.
Because Dan Hicks is okay. I'm
not
here to knock
Tirico's not going to do golf anymore.
But Tirico is so much better, and Johnny Miller's the worst, and David Feherty's great. And David Feherty didn't leave CBS just to go to the Golf Channel and NBC just to walk on the course where he could have been doing that at CBS still.
And another kind of point to go on there, where I think Mike Tirico is going to he's not going to call basketball at all anymore.
Which is disappointing because he's pretty good at that.
Which is kind of weird for me. Maybe he will do a lot more golf. Maybe will he do college basketball? They get some preseason tournaments like Battle of Atlantis and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I can't see Mike Tirico doing that. It's the same guy that calls the NBA on ESPN, big games, and you know what I mean. It's just a little weird for me. That's
Definitely.
I mean, I'm sure maybe he's going to get his own show. There's something else to this that I don't see. That
I
would be
think
interesting.
he's just the man in waiting for NBC's two of NBC's prime entities, which are the golf and which is, of course, Sunday Night Football. I think he's the man that slides in when Al Michaels says
He's
goodbye.
calling Thursday Night Football already.
Exactly. I don't know when we don't know when Al Michaels is going to. Al Michaels had one of his best seasons last year. He's been excellent. So
that broadcast in general has been ridiculous.
And I don't mind Collinsworth. I think Collinsworth is good. I think people get on Collinsworth because, you hear him so much because everyone watches that Sunday night game. Everyone watches the Sunday night game.
Even if the team stink,
if he says one wrong thing, like, you're going to get on him. Plus, Sunday night has the advantage that Monday night doesn't, where you can flex.
That's right.
But
you still,
flex the big game.
We still have a tendency to run into some stinkers.
Though, sure. But Monday night doesn't have the stinker. Monday night has more stinkers than Sunday night because you can't flex out.
Yeah, even like
late in the season.
Or when you think about like Thursday night when you get like Jags Titans and Jacksonville on a Thursday night and the final score is like 7-3, you're like, why did I even
And that's
watch?
Nance and Sims.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So,
next guy on our list, Bill Simmons. I think of everyone that left, he made the biggest stink about leaving. I actually just saw his promo for a show on HBO. What'd you think of it?
Any Given Wednesday?
Yeah.
Big Cat made a point to
dropped
Prez
an
about
F,
it.
Yeah,
he's dropped the F-bomb. He thinks he's a hardo. I don't know.
He makes a fair point.
I think
with that
Simmons
statement.
is very good. I never really had a beef with Simmons.
No, I like him, but I can see why people who, especially in the Boston sports media, wouldn't like him. You're not a Boston sports guy anymore. It's over. You haven't worked in the Boston.
I mean, he moved to L.A. 10 years ago.
No, 100%. But he acts like he acts like he's in
he's the gatekeeper. Matt said it before. He acts like he's the gatekeeper of Boston sports. He's better than Shaughnessy. He's better than Bob Ryan in his own mind. He thinks he's the best. So, whatever. I mean, him and Franny did a great show.
No, that was.
Monday.
I listened to part of it. I told you I couldn't
show.
listen to a bunch of it.
It was very good. Simmons gets a lot out of Franny. Franny hasn't perked up.
No, I told. What did I say? What did I say when I texted you?
When Francesa perks up is when he's around Russo and he's around someone that brings it out of him. The two names to replace Russo were Ian Eagle
and him.
And Bill Simmons.
He offered Bill the job.
And Bill Simmons said you couldn't pay for me.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So.
And that was over 10 years ago.
Exactly. And did you know Elliot Spitzer might have been one of the people that
That's just really weird. I don't know where to go.
That's crazy,
with that.
right?
Yeah, really
I read
weird.
that, which would have been very weird. Very, very weird. But, Simmons is another guy where he's just trying to do his own thing. He's doing The Ringer. He's got the show on HBO. And it's going to be interesting to see because Francesa asked him, what kind of show are you doing? What is your show? It's going to be conversational. He's going to try to pair guests that work out and see what they can kind of figure out.
I was going to say, it kind of reminds me of what's his name? Bill Maher?
Bill Maher. I hate his
I was going to say, but I think it's kind of be like that with sports.
Such a liberal.
I feel like I could see Bill Simmons coming out of like a dark, like you know what I mean? He's pulling some weird thing, trying to make like a statement. And like he's going to bash ESPN a ton and trying to make a lot of he'll have some hot takes. I'm sure that will go viral.
Oh, no question.
Just by nature, that's who he is. Another huge loss here for the worldwide leader was Colin Cowherd, a guy who'd been with the network for over 10 years. I think he had finally started to get too comfortable there. I think when you've heard him talk about his departure from the network, he talked about how he lived all over the country and he was just kind of sick of living in Connecticut and he wanted to do something else. I mean, he got it. He got proprietary relationships with his advertisers. He was able to own his own podcast. He simulcast on FS1. But a lot of it, I think, even Francesa had this problem. They boot him a lot. They kick him off a lot.
Yeah.
For like NASCAR and stuff. I'm sorry. If I'm making $6.5 million a year for your network, you're kicking me off for NASCAR, but that's a moneymaker and it gets big ratings.
Cowherd is on when? 11-1?
12-3.
12-3. So, I mean, Francesa was on 1 to 6:30. So he's going to get bumped more often than Cowherd is.
No, but Colin gets kicked a lot.
Because of the live content. Fox Sports 1 and Fox have the deals with UEFA Champions League and Europa League where they're going to have live soccer games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday out of every week. So those are weeks where you're going to get bumped. That being said, I think Cowherd does a good show.
No, he's done a good job.
I'm not going to knock Cowherd. I think he's all right. But who I'm going to knock is Whitlock. And I hate Whitlock. He's Mr. Like, if Skip's Mr. Hot Take, Whitlock is Mr. Nuclear Take. Because Whitlock will literally just put the screws in an argument. He'll make it about race. He'll make it about other things. And sometimes you just want to hear who's a better player. You don't want to hear race get involved. If you can play, the best thing about sports is it doesn't matter color, creed, religion, background. If you can play, you can play. That's the best part about sports.
Oh, 100%. Especially once you roll the ball out there, whatever's said, it's all over from there. But my problem with Whitlock is you think a guy like you mentioned, who's always got something to say. The perfect example being after the night Kobe goes off, and he just in his final game, he goes out and he says, "Don't forget all this stuff that happened with Kobe. Don't forget what he did in his past." And I don't need to get in it. We all know what happened in Kobe's past. I just think it's kind of a cheap shot.
I mean, how many jobs has Whitlock had?
That's what I was going to say.
He's been kicked out. Let's get real here.
He's been kicked. He's been kicked out of ESPN twice. And remember that when they tried to start Unite with him and it got defunct. Did you see they started undefeated today? It was pretty much the thing Whitlock couldn't do at ESPN.
Whatever.
Interesting. I found it very, very interesting. Our last guy we want to talk about here before we wrap up is Robert Flores.
I like Roflo.
I think he's another guy. I think he just got bored of doing Sports Center and doing like
the
fantasy football. Honestly, if I'm working at ESPN, you got me doing fantasy football now. It's kind of cheesy.
He got passed over too a couple times on Sports Center. Yeah. He's not really going to get ahead of Butchie. He's not really going to get ahead of John Anderson
or Steve Levy
or Levy or
Steve Berthrum's gone. He's the announcer for the Diamondbacks now. Yeah,
Levy, and then of course he's not passing SVP.
Yeah.
So Roflo is in a spot where, do I stick it out here at ESPN and just do my niche, or could I go somewhere else? He's splitting time now between MLB and NHL. I think that's a good gig for him, especially with those two companies kind of marrying each other with the advanced media section of it, and their studios are both in Secaucus,
yes.
Correct. If I'm sure. So, interesting for him. The seasons kind of don't line up, so he'll be able to do one or the other most of the time. So I think that's a good get for him.
I'm interested to see if he tries to pull a Rich Eisen, like when Rich Eisen went to the NFL Network for the first few years. Or up until this year, Rich Eisen just started to have a radio show. Does he try and get simulcast like Rich Eisen did and kind of fill up his, his daily plate a little more? I don't know. It'd be interesting.
I think Rofo plays well in the South and Southwest. I don't know if he can carry a national thing.
He did a ESPN radio. He's done it before. I don't think it would be terrible, but I think he'd have to have a co-host. He'd have to have a co-host. You're right, and that's where you run the gauntlet of, are you good enough to do it by yourself?
Who are you going to get with your co-host?
Yeah.
So.
Touche. That's all we have for you tonight on this M&A Sports Sit Down. Thank you for tuning in. We got more coming your way. Have a good one.